Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dinner time is here. That's right, we're talking Hannibal, episode 11 of season 1, Roti, on Dish by Dish. You can hear the mail truck. This is the Dish by Dish podcast, a Hannibal rewatch project from Kill by Kill. My name is Patrick Hamilton, and the goal of this show is to watch an episode of Hannibal and then talk about it. And of course, there's only one person I trust, and that if I'm doing a little freehand surgery, she'll hang around to, squeeze that oxygen bottle on my patient/victim's face. The one, the only, Gena Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gena?
I probably would, because you're my friend, but yeah. I would not be doing that as calmly as Freddie Lounds does.
She does it like she's kind of into it. Like it's one of those things where everyone says we're going to go to a karaoke club and you're like, well, I don't want to get up and sing. And you kind of, well, I'll go there and I'll drink and I'll sit in a corner and you just watch it happen in front of you. But it's surgery of a person who does not need surgery.
This is also after she has seen someone have their tongue pulled through a slash in their throat.
Yes.
And she just kind of a little like, oh, about at the sight of it. She's not at all shocked or repulsed by this. Just like, well, I guess this will happen.
Yeah. She's kind of into it. These are the things she is into.
Yeah, I think this is the episode where like everybody, you realize that everybody on this show, with the possible exception of Alana Bloom, is probably a sociopath.
I think that is very true.
Not reacting to things in a way that normal human beings should be reacting to.
No, they're either fascinated by it or interested in it,
or cracking jokes, or just looking.
Yeah, they tie bows with some of these veins. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
We're talking about Roti, this episode of Hannibal, which I learned is an Indian bread. That's as much research as I put into it. And it starts with, we learned that Dr. Abel Gideon will be heading to court to sue Dr. Chilton for making him think that he is the Chesapeake Ripper. Along the way, he decides to murder a couple people and escape, and he does so in fine fashion. Cut to Will, who's finally getting some of those sweet, wet dreams dripping.
Oh, yeah, he is soaking in it.
He really, he is soaking in it, to the point where he himself becomes a waterfall, a la Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls. Was that too much?
No, it's perfect.
But that's whole dream sequence is really getting into the millennium thing. Like a couple episodes back, I talked about how there was that episode where his wife gets a crazy nerve disease and has a hallucination set to horses, and it's just like a freak out for 8 minutes, and that's what this is. I like freak outs. It's fun.
Yeah, he's basically like just kind of barely hanging on by a thread at this point.
Yes, he should not be walking around. At this point, I don't know why everyone kind of looks at him like, can you get over yourself? Like every day you come in here sniffling, you've got a cold, stay at home. But
yeah, Jack's just like, well, you just need to not let this stuff get to you. It's like, you're a bit late for that, Jack.
Yeah, that train, as they say, has sailed. This is a guy who's telling you, I feel like I'm coming apart, like I'm liquid and I'm just leaking away. And he's like, pull yourself together, pal. No, like half of his brain is on fire, everyone. And they just don't seem to care or notice. It's really wild.
It is. And it kind of, it feels a little gaslighty, Is the audience seeing something that they're not, or it's interesting and unnerving at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like every
mean,
character just kind of every character in the movie, again, with the possible exception of TV show, rather, again, with the possible exception of Alana Bloom, who acts like a human, just sort of regards him sort of like, sort of detached interest, like someone looking at a bug.
He's an experiment walking around,
and it's like this person's not going to be able to continue doing a good job for you if he's having a one nervous breakdown after another.
I agree. It is.
I mean, we get the idea that Hannibal is sort of fascinated in watching him dissolve, but I mean, I don't know why everybody else is just sort of like, he's kind of weird, but we're just gonna let him do his thing.
It's sort of an extension of what Hannibal's doing, because Chilton was psychically driving Gideon to think he was the Chesapeake River. And to a certain degree, the FBI is psychically driving Will to believe that nothing is wrong. That you just get back out there, like walk it off, kid.
Because apparently he is the only person in the entire country who can do profiling like he does.
Yes. I find that great. Like, how did they find any killers before he wandered on the scene?
Yeah, I mean, he can't be that old. I mean, what were they doing before he was he like 35 at the oldest? I mean, what were they doing before he was doing this?
So Gideon manages to escape from this armored car. He kills 2 guards. One, he snaps his neck up against the ceiling, and the other, he slashes his neck with part of the handcuffs that he undid because he dislocated his thumb. Is that the concept there?
Assume that scene was shot very frenetically, so it was kind of hard to tell exactly how he managed to escape.
But he, Will in his, memory palace tells us all he needs is one hand to do what he has to do. Gena, keep it. This is for the children. We're like Wu-Tang. This is for the children. This is a very pleasant, all ages chat about a serial killer show.
They make it where somebody hangs dicks and hearts from a tree. That was a penis, right? I'm fairly certain that one of those organs was hanging from the tree with a penis.
I believe your expert testimony. So mentioned, so passed. I believe it entirely.
Definitely a couple hearts.
Yeah, definitely a couple hearts, a liver or two, as presents for the Chesapeake Ripper that Gideon does not for sure know who it is, because he asks almost everyone he meets, "Are you the Chesapeake Ripper?" But he's like
Lewis in Ghostbusters, just running around asking various people, "Are you the Chesapeake Ripper?"
I mean, it worked out for both of them because they both find what they're looking for, oddly enough, in very large metropolitan cities. So Gideon is going around, and his system of really finding the Chesapeake Ripper is killing all of the psychiatrists who have seen him or examined him at one time. So the way he's doing that is he arrives at one guy's office and gives him what he describes as the Columbia necktie, which I
have to ask, are human tongues really that big? That thing looks about like a foot long.
It does look extraordinarily.
Like, how do you get that all? How does the person get? I mean, I know they said, they got all the way in the back. It's like, how do you get all that in your mouth?
Because I don't think it starts just in your mouth. I think
that's true. Your soft
back
palate,
into your throat,
like your soft palate and all. Yeah,
that's
true.
And that's pretty gross.
That's pretty. That's a pretty grody scene.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you're cutting up. It's not just like slitting your throat, crosswise, like you're some sort of Jason Voorhees. you're cutting away all the material that's underneath your jaw so that you get the full length of it to come out entirely. So there is a bit of work going on there. Not the same amount of work that Michael Myers did to make that one cop's head into a jack-o'-lantern in Halloween 2018. But
that took dedication there.
It really does. That is some artwork that he's doing. But Gideon decides that he's going to bring Alana Bloom into this, and he has the awareness to know her phone number, call her, lure her to this psychologist's office.
Freddie he lured to the office.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Will is completely losing his grasp at a geometric rate. Like his brain is boiling from the inside. He's in an FBI meeting and he just slips into a state where all around him are elk antlers, like the lair of the Minnesota Shrike. And no one listens to this guy when he's like, I'm coming apart.
Yeah, I mean, he's like sweat just like pouring out of him.
Yes.
And he's like staggering, and his eyes are rolling back, and everybody's just like, meh, what's up with that guy over there?
Yeah. I think the first two acts of this particular episode all say the same thing 3 different ways. Gideon doesn't know who he is. And so he's killing people to find out. And then Jack says it. And then Alana says it. And then Hannibal says it. And then Will says it. Like, okay. I think we got one. I think I get it. I will say it's all in service of really the end sequence. When poor in dick fingers, Chilton is strapped down to a table with an epidural, I assume, at the neck. And Chilton performs open heart surgery on him while he is awake. And
yeah.
That is the shit of nightmares.
Yeah, and like I said, Freddie just like, well, all right, I guess you need me to help. because I guess the whole idea is he is giving her the big scoop.
Yes.
You know, an eyewitness account, which a little bit throwback to Natural Born Killers. Mm-hmm. Where they took Robert Downey Jr. hostage, and they wanted to report live on what they were doing.
Yeah.
And Robert Downey Jr. at least had the decency to look a little scared. Whereas Freddie looks like she has done this before.
Yeah.
And like she has absolutely assisted someone in the torture of someone before.
Yeah.
She looks like mildly ruffled by it.
It's like she doesn't want to be there all day. I know I can't leave because then I'm a party to murder, but I also don't want to squeeze oxygen into this dude's mouth all night. Can either the Chesapeake Ripper or the FBI come figure this out?
And she's not even like when Crawford finds her. Well, technically, I mean, Gideon has left, but he's still nearby. Yeah. But she's sitting there still pumping the air thingy, and she's just like, "Oh, good, someone's here."
Can I stop doing this now? Or?
Most people would be like, "Oh my god, thank God," And then after you piss and shit yourself, then you pass out.
Yeah. And for her, this is like, oh,
it's like, well,
another one of these.
It's Tuesday, time to assist someone in another torture. And it's like what is the show trying to say about her?
Yeah,
that she is so cold-blooded and ambitious a reporter that she would stand by and watch someone kill people.
Yeah,
and not try to stop them, not try to escape herself, all in the attempt to get a good story on tattlecrime.com. not the New York Times, not the Washington Post, a crime blog.
Yeah. I mean, it's all at this point.
It's slightly pushing the boundaries of plausibility. And I realize it's a show that plays around with plausibility. I get that. But for some reason,
reality-based program.
But for some reason, this in particular, I was like, what are you doing here, people? You know, like,
because
what are you trying to say about this character?
At this point, like, her beef with Will seems to come down to, you use your madness to stop killers. And that is going to just put me out of business.
Yeah,
that's what it's coming down to.
You're encroaching on my blog.
Right. I write about serial killers. You stop them from killing. You're killing my business is really what is coming across as far as her beef with all this. Well,
that's why that's again, not to keep harping, and again, it's not a problem with the actor or anything that. It's just, I don't care for this character. It doesn't make any sense for, like Freddie Lounds in the book. He was just, a reporter. He wasn't specifically like a crime reporter. He worked for a tabloid.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure like what the benefit is of having her so hyper focused on this that, she's, turns out to be, barely better than the people she's profiling.
Right.
That just seems to be a little too obvious of a twist.
Mm-hmm. And maybe at some point in this that I don't remember, it all pays off. That very well could be true. So I will admit that right now. It's just the one part of what appears to be a very well-constructed narrative that I don't understand. And maybe I will, but right now I just don't.
But yeah, I'm trying to watch this from the perspective of not ever having seen it before.
Yeah.
So, so this part is not working for me.
Yes. Whereas everything else I think is working.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a small enough thing that I wouldn't forgive it. It's just, it's like, why is this happening?
Yeah. Because I think it's all of the elements here are playing off one another. They are playing the same notes, but at a different register, and it's making and it's in harmony. She's the one part that I'm not sure it just doesn't feel like it's in harmony, but maybe that pays off down the line. So later, or not much later, but immediately after this, Chilton, who's like just off to the side, like, oh, that was a morning, goes to this car that he's managed to pilfer. He's done very well on his own after escaping from a psychiatric hospital. So good for him. He's able, he may be insane, but he's able to adapt.
I'm very fascinated by his, did we point out that this character Gideon is played by Eddie Izzard?
No, I don't know that we haven't really talked about the Eddie Izzard of it all.
I'm very fascinated by his Agent Smith-esque American accent. I love a good British person American accent where they don't sound like they're from anywhere except America. Yeah. It's like the accent of no accent.
Yeah, he's over enunciating.
Yeah, he's very, very carefully pronouncing certain things so he doesn't accidentally slip into a lilt, and he almost makes it most of the time.
And it would have been fine if he was British. That's the thing. Like, who can? Like, he's a surgeon who was born and raised in Britain and married here and then killed his wife. Like, he doesn't need to be American. I don't know why they add this level of difficulty for him when he doesn't need it, unless he came off the set of The Riches and he goes, "No, I got this. Like, I know how to do this now." But he Will stows away in the back of his truck.
looking like he's about to vomit everywhere.
Yes, he's just wobbly holding a pistol, like saying, "Don't turn around." And Gideon's more fascinated at this point that this is how he's going to go down. I think he's going to get shot by someone who isn't entirely sure he's really there, or something else crazy is going to happen. So Will takes Gideon to Hannibal because when he looks at Gideon, he sees the Minnesota Shrike. And Hannibal's like, hey, guess what? That the Minnesota Shrike is not there. In fact, nobody's there. You are wigging out, my friend. And then Will has a full pants pissing grand mal seizure while standing up.
That's pretty impressive.
It really is. And then Hannibal and Gideon sit down and they have a little tete-a-tete about what you're going to do now. And he's not, well, I like to go kill Dr. Alana Bloom, but I don't know where she is. And Hannibal's like, I do. And again, I'm not, does he really want to get rid of Alana, or is he just
no, I think it's entire stuff because he knows will go rescue her.
Or does he know that she's under protection and it's likely that Gideon will die?
Yeah, I think it's that. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he'd be entirely heartbroken if something happened to Alana, but I don't think that was his primary intent.
Right. Because and it's weird to say like all he really cares about is Will, but he's also letting Will die, essentially. But somehow, Dr. Gideon takes off now, armored with the knowledge of where Alana lives, and Will manages to catch up. How? I do not know.
Yeah, I do not know how. I have no idea how he got there.
Did he call a taxi and say, go to this address? Don't mind me. I'm just going to sweat half of my brain away in the back here until you get there. Like you fucking call an Uber. Like, again, not a realistic show. So it ultimately doesn't fucking matter. But they have a conversation which Will is basically talking to the Minnesota Shrike. Like he does not understand that Gideon is there and ends up shooting him rather unceremoniously.
Yeah. Lands right in a snowbank.
Yes. It's one of those episodes that I feel is treading water a little bit. It's one of those things where I wonder if this would have worked out a little bit better if they didn't have 13 episodes. It's kind of got that, Netflix disease where where you get into the teens and you're like, maybe this would have been better at 10. Yeah, I mean,
it pulls it like I said, it pulls some certain things to even further implausible lengths. Like at what point is Hannibal going to tell Will the truth about what's actually wrong with him?
Yeah.
Because he's just gonna die eventually. They don't get a medical treatment.
He's just gonna die, but at the end, he's talking, about how the reason he wants friendship, and so he wants to keep Will around because he thinks Will understands him on a level no one else does. But also, he kind of like to see him go crazy from his brain catching fire. It's a weird way to be friends.
Well, like I said, I mean, everybody sort of treats him with this, scientific detachment. That's like, let's do this thing to him and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. And so that brings us to Choose Your Own Death Venture, where we decide of the deaths portrayed in this episode, which way would you die? Which way would you choose to die, and why? Up for bid. We have your neck broken in the inside of an armored car. Have your throat slashed open by the open end of a pair of handcuffs. You can have a Colombian necktie or a Colombian necktie and have your arm severed because that's a clue. Or it turns out Dr. Chilton does not pass away. So we can't count that. Regrettably.
He's such a fucking weasel.
He's such a fucking weasel.
I was
but
observing
he has so much suffering left to take.
I was observing that we've seen numerous variations on Crawford. We've seen numerous variations on Will. We've seen numerous variations on Lecter. But Chilton is always a fucking weasel.
Yes. he's a weasel in the books. And so I think this falls in line. That really is his role. He wants to be as cool as everyone else, and he's never going to be. And so his desire to punch above his weight, eventually gets him eaten in the movies. And here he just suffers indignity after indignity after indignity, and it's kind of delicious. Or you can just get shot. So what say you, Gena?
Well, we left out that one of the things that Gideon does to his victims is he gives them an orbital lobotomy. Doesn't take the brain out. He just scrambles them, which is the term that they use. And my brain's already scrambled anyway. So I'll take getting my neck broken in a van.
Oh yeah. It's neck broken in the van all the way. I don't know what happens to the drivers of the van. We only see Will in the recreation of it just leap out like he's a Wolverine. So we can only assume they die and get their brains scrambled and their organs taken out and strung up on a tree. But out of all of the portrayed deaths, I would definitely take the neck break, because that's over pretty fast. And then my penis is on display on a tree.
Very festive, perfect for this time of year.
Yes. Well, and unless you were borrowing someone else's penis, and you don't have to tell me, yours won't be. So that will be the only difference. But so we got that going for us. So that pretty much does it. Thanks everyone. Dish by Dish is a wonderful project. We are going to continue it. Next time we'll be talking about episode 12, the penultimate. Is penultimate the next to last?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, okay. The penultimate episode of this season of Hannibal. And then next week on Kill by Kill, we have an episode called Doppelganger, in which Drew Barrymore showers a lot.
And you maybe put on a watch list if you watch it.
Very well, maybe.
Because she is underage and looks it.
And then at the end, there's a goopy monster. So stay tuned for that one. It's a lot of fun. Rate, review, subscribe. Gena, where can people find you on these here internets?
I am a writer at The Spool. That's thespool.net. Coming up this month, I'll be writing about the 25th anniversary of 12 Monkeys, because thankfully nothing like that ever happened in real life.
That would be crazy if we had like a massive pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, just thank God we got that thing under control. And I'll also be writing about Zodiac. So. The much less nerve-wracking Zodiac.
Yes, right. The movie that definitely will make you want to take a picnic soon, fast and quick, or visit someone's creepy basement.
And I'm also on Twitter under Porcelain72.
Do it today, people. Check it out. We're on the socials. We're on Good Pods, which is the podcast version of Goodreads. We're on Verbal as well. We're in a lot of places, and we're just a dad on the internet having fun. Join us next time, everybody. For myself, for Gena, the body count will continue. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.